All right, what's going on, my freaks and geeks out there? We are the Square Round Table. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in last week to our radio show, Power 214. And I want to thank everybody that follows us on YouTube. Thank you so much for commenting, subscribing, liking our videos. We appreciate all the love, guys. Yeah, and I'm your host, Chad Singleton. Go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
E?
Josh?
Marcus, and I just want to give a shout out because today is the GOAT's birthday. Happy birthday, R.I.P. Kobe Bean Bryant.
Yes.
I got my Kobe here with me today in spirit, so
that's what I'm talking about.
Representing today, man. Mama forever, baby. Mwah. Yes, sir.
Of course, yes. Happy birthday, man. R.I.P. to a legend, Kobe Bryant, man.
Yes.
Definitely. But yeah, guys, that was awesome, man. And today, we have a special guest with us. She's a friend of everybody here at the Square Round Table, and she's come all the way from California to talk about body positivity. Please give it up for Miss Eleanna Garza.
Thank you. I want to thank you guys for having me on this podcast. Such a fun, really thankful for you guys to give me like this platform to talk about this subject. So thank you guys.
Of
course, you are very welcome. And yeah, we love to have you on. We just appreciate you for wanting to chop it up with us. Like that's amazing. So but yeah, it's definitely a crazy topic, but we'll go ahead and jump right into it. And this is something we've all kind of dealt with going through school, and I just kind of want to get you guys' just opinions on it. So bullying, like, do you think it hurt you as far as developmentally, or do you think it helped? Because I know for myself personally, when I was younger, I did get bullied a lot for my weight, because I've always been a bigger guy. But for me, I think it gave me a tougher skin going through life, and it kind of helped me in a way form the personality that I have now. And I kind of wanted to know, how did that work out for all of you guys?
I could start. Yeah.
Sure.
I think bullying, it kind of takes me back to my childhood. It's kind of when I noticed it was first starting. I was always like the bigger, taller girl, like in the class, and I would like look around and see like, wow, like, and I don't feel like I was even that big of a like kid, but just the fact of like, you're in a classroom and everyone else is just shorter than you and like smaller than you. And to see that, and then you kind of see yourself as the outcast. And then so as I got maybe into like the 4th grade, 5th grade, these people, or these kids that I would consider my quote unquote friends, would just make comments here and there, they would, and I was trying hard, just like, they're my friends, like, it's okay. Don't take it too personal. But really it was bullying. The fact of what they were telling me is like, oh, like, you can't fit in this. Oh, you're too big to do this with us. And just stuff like that, Yeah. It starts to kind of build up in you as a kid. And it's kind of crazy how those things kind of can shape you in the future and kind of mentally, I guess, prepare you for worse things in a way. Because that's kind of how I felt growing up and going into like higher grades, like middle school, when you're starting to change and like, everything's kind of coming out of nowhere. And it can either get worse or it can get better. And I think bullying, it has both. It's like, it could be hurtful and helpful. That's my opinion on it.
Go ahead, Demetrius.
Yeah, to like go off of what you were saying, like, you think that your friends are like not gonna bully you, or like they're not like gonna say it outright, in which my friends didn't. Like, they would just make slick comments as jokes, not understanding how much those jokes can actually, weigh on your conscience and stuff like that. So, in my situation, it more or less gave me a thicker skin, but I also went through a lot of like, sad times and depression because of like those things that they were saying. And it took me a long time to like get out of all that funk, because I just kind of saw myself as lesser of, an individual. But it did help me when I got out of high school. I started to see the world a little bit more, and it kind of gave me more perspective. And so I was like, okay, these comments, they might come out of a place of insecurity or something like that, because most of the comments they were saying were like, oh, I wish I was like you, and I wish I was like this. But at the same time, they would give me like these like I guess not backhanded compliments, but they were like kind of saying, oh, you're good that you're skinny, you could do this, that, the other, but they weren't understanding that there's a lot that come with that, a lot of negatives that come with that. So I can understand what you went through. In my perspective, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, if I can jump in right quick,
Sure.
I would say bullying for me it's helpful, and I say it's helpful because it helps get you out of a certain mindset that you're used to getting into. Like for instance, when I was in high school, well, in my high school we had uniforms, and I wore the entire uniform every time, and it was a blazer. It was like a suit basically, and I would wear the blazer like every day, and I would never take it off, and I do stuff like put on like a golden tie clip. Like I was just like I just really thought I was just so important and pretentious in high school, and people were like, yeah, Josh, like what are you doing with that tie clip and having a designer pin or whatnot? It's like you don't have to do all of that, and you look ridiculous. And they were saying, well, you should also take off that blazer too, because you look ridiculous trying to be outside with everybody with the blazer on. So I was like, well, maybe I should change up something so I can be not so extra. If that's the word. I don't think that's the word, but just to be not to be so just strange, because it was strange. Like with the blazer and whatnot, I was sweating bullets outside, and I wore it because I just wanted to have some kind of thing that made me stand out. But that's not really the way to go about it, I don't think. But yeah, it could be hurtful as well. But that was just how it was helpful for me. Yeah.
That can happen a lot. Sometimes you just do stuff because feel like it'll take the attention off of you or bring the attention to you, so you can kind of block out those negative things. And for me, I would say with bullying, I wasn't like a bully, but I was like mean as hell when I was a little kid. And it's because I didn't want anybody to mess with me. And
that's a good
I felt
point.
like I had to be like that, so nobody would like, talk about me or try me or try, so I was always like trying to fight people if they said something about me or my brother or, anything. So I was real mean. And then, with my temper, it just clashed, and then, it didn't make good. But I did have like a problem like with wearing glasses, because when I was growing up, I didn't wear glasses, and my vision didn't start getting bad until like elementary school. But I thought it was just because I would sit up too close to the TV and stuff. So when I got my first pair of glasses, that was like back in the like late '90s. So they were still like the circle, like wire frame glasses. So
which oddly enough is in now.
Yeah, I was like, I'm already like kind of nerdy. So I was like, this is gonna make me even more nerdy. And see, I went to a small private school, so that's another thing that was good for me, because it wasn't that many kids there, and we were all kind of like know each other. But we did have kids that would talk about you, would be like, look at you, you gotta wear glasses now, ha ha ha, and all that. So it hurt me because I wouldn't wear my glasses, and my eyesight got worse because I kept straining my eyes and trying to see and squint. And because of that pressure of, them just saying that, oh, you got to wear glasses now. I don't got to wear glasses. Like, just little stuff like that, even though it's something small, that's a form of bullying, because you're picking at somebody because of something that they have to do and you don't. And especially as a child, you know, like you 9 and 10 years old, you don't know how to take that because you like, I don't want to wear these stupid things because it makes me look stupid, you know. And
Yeah.
people say that on TV, but you know, that really happens. So for me, it was the whole thing with glasses, and I really didn't accept wearing glasses until I got like in middle school
Mm-hmm.
because you know I was just like, why my eyes gotta be bad and all this stuff. But you know that was just like a thing early on. But other than that, like I said, I always was fighting people and telling them to get off. But an interesting thing too about me is I had bullying in my family, which is crazy. Like with one of my cousins, just like you, Demetrius. You know, I was really skinny when I was younger, so I didn't care about nobody talking about me. But I had a cousin, and she was, you know, kind of big boned, so she would always pick on me, talking about, "Yeah, you just so skinny. Look at you. You just eat. You don't gain no weight. You're so skinny. You can slide through the
Yeah,
stairway and all
I know
that
all
shit."
that.
I was just like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever. So, and the reason I'm using this example because bullying can, you know, you can like keeping all that anger and be quiet when it comes out is something, you know, very mean. And it had got to the point where on my 10th birthday, she just kept doing it. And she was like, you know what, you just so skinny. And I turned around and the next thing to come out my mouth was, and you just really fat. And it wasn't because I was trying to be spiteful, but I had just got fed up with her calling me skinny. And you know,
Right.
that's how it
Yeah.
came out. So bullying
Yeah.
really can, like you said, it can have like good and bad effects, you know, because when you build up all of that and then it comes out, it's just like now I'm being a bully and I'm not trying to, you know what I'm saying?
No,
Exactly.
and those that's a really good point you made. And I was just taking in everything everybody's been saying. And Marcus, what you were talking about your family definitely leads into the next point. But before I got there, I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of some stuff that everybody said. Like as far as what you were saying, Marcus, about how you were kind of mean when you were younger, and I'm guessing that's was kind of a form of a like a defense mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
so that you wouldn't get messed with. And for me, I remember what my defense mechanism was and when it happened. Because like I said, I used to get talked about a lot when I was younger, and I remember one time
Okay,
I said something. Um,
continue. Sorry, she's coming
y'all
Hey,
good?
back.
sorry.
Oh
Yeah,
no, y'all. Yep, you're
yeah,
good. You're
it's all
good.
good.
My video cut out. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't know. I was gonna bring you back in, and you just came back in. But yeah,
Okay.
sorry about that.
no, y'all are straight. But yeah, like I said, I remember when my defense mechanism kind of started because I remember I said something one day in class and everybody laughed. You know what I'm saying? And they weren't laughing at me; they were laughing with me, and I was just like, okay, well. In a sense, I'm like it, and that kind of formed like my personality now. It's just like, I guess in the back of my head, I was just like, well, if I can beat somebody to the joke, if I can, make fun of myself before somebody else does, then I'd be okay. You
Oh,
know,
Yeah.
and yeah, and that kind of was something that uh I just did, and I guess it became more natural, and it just because I wasn't really a jokey person like that before then, but it just kind of happened, and it just because of that, in a way, it kind of formed how I, dealt with certain situations as I got older, and yeah, and just going off of what Eliana said, just I guess what a bully looks like, is not always just a guy waiting outside of your classroom to get your lunch money. You know what I'm saying? That's not the case. Like
I
sometimes it's
wish.
I know, right?
That sounds.
That would make it a
Take
lot
it.
easier.
Like, just leave me
hey,
alone.
make it simple.
right.
Make it real simple,
Yeah.
man.
Right, but sometimes just like I remember when I was a kid, it used to be just these little situations because I've always been a big dude, and I remember going to the park with my mom when I was a little kid, and random ladies telling me that I was too big to be on the swing, or or saying that you're too old. And I wasn't. I was a little kid, but I was a big guy. Or like, I remember my parents taking me to certain restaurants because kids at a certain age could eat for free. And they would tell my mom and dad that they were lying because I was a big dude and I didn't look like I was 5 years old. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of stuff, that's the sort of way that, bullying outside of the norms of what we think it is, that's how it affects you. And, that's how I kind of got my way of dealing with certain things and sort of, I guess, making light of it. Cause it's just like, if I don't make a big deal out of it, nobody will. And that way it kind of gave me the power, you know what I'm saying? It gave me control over it. So
yeah, I think like it starts at home, like with the parents, and if they're like on their kids about bullying and talking to them, because kids, they could be the most blunt people. They'll tell you straight up like what they don't like, and kids are cruel. Like
time.
for me, I remember being like super excited on picture day. We had like a spring picture day. You take pictures like in the springtime. I don't know why. At school. And so I remember like I got this like sparkly dress from fucking JCPenney, wherever. And it was like green. It was like a bright green sparkly dress. I was so excited to wear it. And before I went up to take my picture, like these guys in my class, it was probably like 5th grade, 6th grade. They just were like, "Oh, she looks like a fat Tinkerbell." And I was just like,
"Oh, wow."
Dang. And the other part was like, I couldn't really open up to like my parents because my dad was my principal at that school.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, oh, I don't want to play that, principal's daughter tells, on the kids and then like gets them in trouble. And one day, like, yeah, like they already like clowned me on that. So it's like, what can I do? Just take it. And I remember the next day, like just not wanting to go to school. And my dad was like, "No, why aren't you going to school?" I had to tell him. And, them kids got in trouble. So I'm like, it worked out.
Right.
I think my dad told him, like, "You better apologize to my daughter or I'm going to suspend you." And then they came up to me the next day and, like, apologized.
Hey.
If we were friends back then, I would have beat them up for you. Trust me.
Definitely.
That's how I handled people back then.
Yeah, like it was rough because like I don't know, these kids were mean, kids. A lot of kids everywhere are just mean. I don't know. It does stem from a lot of stuff, maybe insecurities of their own, and or it could start from home, and they're just trying to get this like anger out. They'll take it out on whoever's the easiest.
And exactly. I'll go ahead, Josh. Are you about to say something?
Yeah. That brings me to my other question. Is parents getting involved in the bullying you receive from school helpful or hurtful?
It depends on how they handle it. Cause like if you get in there and you like go up to the kids and you're like, "Okay, you got to stop doing this," then that's not gonna solve it. Cause then the kids are they're gonna bully you harder, bro. They're gonna come in extra hard. That's why like I avoided telling my mom like about anything and like that. Cause I was like, my mom's a teacher here at my high school, and I was like, I'm not gonna tell her if these kids are bullying me. I'm just gonna have to handle it myself.
Yeah.
Because if she tells them, they know that I told her that because my mom was like a big person. Everybody knew my mom, so like they'd know, and they would come after me. So I had to learn to handle myself on my own because of that. Like I couldn't go to my mom for that stuff. So it just depends on that.
Yeah, I think like if I were to ever be a parent one day, like I think the most important thing would be to kind of know your kid before sending them into school, like really start from an early age talking to them. And then
hopefully not.
All right.
Oh no, you're good.
Okay. Really kind of knowing your child from an early age and having open conversations with them, and then building a relationship with their teachers. Because that's the person that they're taking care of, or they're not taking care of, but seeing them most of the days, you send them to school. So I think parents need to have closer relationships to their teachers and open communication with them, and counselors too. That would help a lot.
Right. Like
yeah.
go ahead.
To bounce off the counselor thing, I think it's good for the parents to let their kids know if they're going through something, to go to their counselors, to talk to their counselors, or to talk to a teacher, or be open with that, because some kids just aren't, they don't know if, they're not trusting enough to talk to them if they're going through certain things like that, and that can lead up to a lot of different things. Like maybe like depression and stuff like that, or
True.
Them becoming bullies themselves because they're just trying to get rid of that off of them. So, going to the counselors, or having parents tell them, hey, it's okay to go to your counselor and talk to them, or it's okay to talk to your teacher. If we're not there, can help out.
Yeah.
And that's true. It's the biggest thing for me is like, those are great secondary options, going to your counselor, or going to maybe even a friend to help out. But at the end of the day, I think that there still needs to be some type of how can I put it, like, I guess some type of support system at home, or just have that parent that you're able to talk to, or just know that when you get to that area, you're safe, or just to know that, because of what my parents taught me or what I've been shown, this is who I am, and when I go out here and people say whatever about me, I know instinctually that that's not true, because that's, because I was shown that at home.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I wanted to like talk about next. Like, how do you guys feel about like the role that family plays in your self-image, as far as like how you were raised and things like that?
I'd say it plays a important part, because like how your parents address you, or how your parents talk to you about, or have conversations about things, like even if they're like, oh, you're really skinny or something like that, or they're like, oh, you need to eat a sandwich or something like that, that can have an effect on, your self-esteem. And those aren't things that are like, they're not things that, how do I explain it?
That are
Like
meant to be malicious.
that could come out of like, oh, maybe you need to eat, because maybe you haven't ate today, and that's why they said it. But that, now out that context, you're like, oh, well, they're looking at me like there's something wrong with me. So I think that if you are to, if your parents are to come at you and, more, explain it a little bit more, like if they say that, they're like, oh, it's just because I think, I haven't seen you eat anything today, so that's why I said it, or, kind of give more explanation. Maybe that could help out, because, parents don't mean to do that. Like, it's not like they're, all the time are meaning to just be that kind of way, or to come across that way. It's just accidentally sometimes, or not intentional.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think growing up like in a like Hispanic family, a lot of the times in the culture, it's like people will just like especially for girls, they'll like just comment, like family members will just comment on weight only. Oh, she looks like she's gaining weight. Oh, she looks a little bigger, and just stuff like that. And as you grow up, it just really kind of like eats at you, pun intended.
Okay.
Yeah, like and so you kind of look at like your family and like your parents like for what's it called? What's that word? They're like your role models. Like you look up to them, and you kind of start to believe anything that they're telling you. And so like when I'm like growing up, like if my mom was telling me like, oh, you need to start eating healthy, you're gaining weight, and then I'm gonna start to believe it, and it's gonna, I don't know, it kind of played a negative role when I was growing up. Like me wanting to do activities when I was younger, like cheerleading, I would get the advice from my mom, don't do that, you're gonna just be at the bottom of the pyramid, and you're gonna not be able to do what other girls are doing. And it was just very very heartbreaking as a kid. And then so growing up, it was just kind of, all right, like I guess I can't do anything because I'm the bigger kid, like I just started to believe it.
Yeah. And it's funny you brought up sports because I'm a larger guy like my brother, and when we were younger, we played little league football. And the funny thing about that is because I was a bigger guy, they thought I was real aggressive and really good at tackling, and I was fairly good at football, but I was actually terrible at football, and I hated it. So
Bro,
that yeah.
I hated that, like, because you were like, if you were a kid and you were like had any kind of height, they automatically tried to make you play sports. And like for me, I didn't like basketball. I actually wanted to play baseball because I loved baseball. And they always tried to force me into basketball because they're like, man, he tall, he got the little slim athletic build for a kid, he real fast, So, you ever think about playing basketball, man? I was like, no, I don't really want to play that. I was like, I'd rather play baseball. They was like, but man, you can do this and you can do that. And it's like, why do I have to do it? Because I'm tall for my age or something? But
Right.
like, I can totally understand that because, and that's what a lot of kids, you see that even now, like they get these kids and they be like, oh yeah, you look like you could play some sports. And because
they treat you like livestock almost.
Yeah, like, oh man, look at that kid over there. He's big for his size. I know he plays some ball. And it might be a dude that like to play like the violin or something, but they trying to make them play like sports or something. So
yeah.
I think like athletics is kind of like forced on people, and then it's a lot of bullying in that because
Yes.
like even with like when you play in like on teams and stuff and you play against other players, even though like you got trash talking, but sometimes it gets like personal and they start, really going at you about other stuff that, you take to offense. So it's definitely bullying in sports. I can say that from a personal. I mean, I've never been bullied, but I've seen it done plenty of times.
Nah, let me tell you. This reminds me. I actually got bullied by my high school the high school football coaches because I was real tall in high school, and they were upset at me because I never wanted to play football and I never wanted to try out. So every day at lunch, they would scout me out, and they'd be like, you should play some football. You're pretty big for your size and stuff like that." And they just kept doing that until I was just like, look, I'm not gonna play football, and you can't make me. Leave me alone. So it happened. That went on for a couple years. So
yeah. They do that, man, and it's crazy. It's sad. It really is.
That's crazy how different it is for like you guys, like guys in general. I feel like you're looked more at like for sports and like for athleticism, and it was like as a kid, for me it was like, oh, I should only go into things as a bigger kid who was a girl. I should only go into things that I could lose weight in. So like if I wanted to do dance, I can only do fast dance classes like hip hop or jazz. I couldn't do ballet apparently because it was too slow, and I wasn't going to lose enough calories. And that's like, I ended up really liking dance a lot. And it was hard, like, because I was the only like bigger kid in the class, but I really wanted to do it. And so I kind of pushed through that. And I was like, I don't care. Like if my mom had to make my own costumes to match the other costumes that the kids got because they didn't come in my size. Like that's how much like I really wanted to just do it, even though I didn't fit into that model, of a dancer.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. Was it Dimitri's?
Yeah, I was gonna ask the question. Is there,
go ahead.
Was there anything growing up or now that you like avoided, whether it was like clothes or like doing a certain activity, that you wanted to do, because of like your, how you were perceived, like, body wise?
I think I was pretty like, I was told a lot, like as a kid, just don't wear certain clothes that make you look bigger, like stripes, for example, that go across. And I don't know why I wanted to wear anything I wasn't told to wear, I was that little rebel, like, no, I want to wear it, I don't care. And so just small stuff like that. What about you guys? So I don't know if it's like really common for guys to be told like what to wear, like anything like that.
I would say for me, it was weird, like fashion wise, because I was real simple, and I still am. I was a like teenager who just wanted to wear like sweatpants and t-shirts and just like shoes and stuff, and everybody's like, why you always dressing like that? Why you can't never wear jeans and look somewhat decent? You be looking like you homeless sometimes and all that. And I'm just like, I mean, that's how I like to dress, because that's who I am. And for a long time, I tried to wear jeans and like the Jordan stuff and match with the stuff because I was trying to appease, my peers and stuff and fit in and stuff. And after a while, I was like, why am I going through all this to try to, look like this for somebody else? What about myself?
Yeah.
So, once I realized that I didn't care how I dressed, and that's how I am now, you can say whatever to me about how I dress. I don't care because that's who I am and that's what makes me. But it was hard because, like I said, we went to a private school and it was very small. So you see people all the time and they can get very judgmental because it's that small group of people. So it's not like a big school where you can go here or go there and, be with this little clique or that little clique. It's like everybody sees you every day. And then with us wearing uniforms, like you, Josh, we wore uniforms every day, but we would have like one casual day. And I would never, my mom had to force me to do it sometimes, but I never wanted to do it because I could not, I just did not like to wear that. And I was like, Mom, do I really have to? She was like, well, I bought you these jeans. Could you just wear them for me? I was like, all right, Mom, I will.
I never participated in the
Bro, I hated it so
day.
much. And my brother was like the total opposite. He loved it. Like he loved to get dressed and all that. And I just tried to avoid it as much as I could. Like I would actually choose to wear my uniform because I was like, at least I could just be comfortable, man. Like
same here.
For a while, I had to figure out my style because I was so uncomfortable, like in certain clothes.
Man, tell me about it. Like I think for me, it wasn't like particular clothes that I was uncomfortable with. I would say more so I was uncomfortable without them. Right. Because I know for me growing up, like we were going back to the football thing, and I truly believe, that football players and sports, athletes and all that at every level at some point get treated like livestock, and I really felt there was a couple of times where I was extremely uncomfortable and I felt how can I put it? I guess I could say that I felt like a piece of meat almost, because people do stuff all the time and they don't realize what it does to you mentally. Like if I'm walking in the hallway, or if I'm minding my own business, I have the right to my personal space, and people will grope you and touch you and pull you. Like I've had people do like, oh, look at this big man right here, and grab me in places and on my arms and my chest and stuff and, squeeze me. And I'm like, dude, that's not cool. I need my own personal space, like that's not. And yeah. And I think it kind of did something to me a little bit to where I just I wasn't comfortable showing my body like I really wasn't for a while. And that's why I really love my parents so much, because I remember, and this was when I was younger, my mom, I think Joshua, you were there too. I think you were old enough around then. It was hot outside. It was like 100 degrees. And my mom had set up like a big pool in the front yard. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going out there because I don't want to take my shirt off. I'm just not going to do it. And my mom was like, no, we're going to be out here because you're a kid. You deserve to have fun. You deserve to have your summer just like everybody else. And you're going to be proud of yourself, and you're going to take your shirt off, and you're going to come out here and, have fun. I don't care what these people say or who's looking at you, because there's nobody looking at you, because nobody cares, because they're dealing with what they got to deal with. It's all in your head. And you know, and that was one of the situations where I finally was just like, you know what? Okay. And I did it. And at that point is when I started to get comfortable with my body more, because my mom kind of pushed me out there and was like, okay, you know, I see what's going on and we're going to fix this, you know? And yeah, that was just, you know, one of those kind of situations.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was the same way. I did not like to take off my shirt when I went.
Me neither.
I did not. I would swim with a tank top on and stuff because I did not want to take my shirt off there. Yeah. So I know how that feels for real.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's good that you brought up the thing that, you know, your mom saying that it's all in your head, because in the end of the day, it is all in your head. Like, you think about it most times more than anybody else does. You know, all these things, you know, people aren't really looking at, like, when I used to go out, or, you know, it'd be a hot day and I would be like, I don't want to wear shorts or anything like that because I don't want people to see my legs. So like, you know, but, you know, I didn't realize until later what your mom was telling you earlier is that people aren't really even thinking about that because they have their own things that they're dealing with. They have their own struggles that they got, their own insecurities that they got going on. So once you realize that, it's kind of easier. You still have those people that will, you know, make fun of you for these things, but it's not everybody. And that's the bigger picture.
Yeah.
Certainly. Were you going to say something, Eleanna?
Oh.
No, I think just like growing up, a lot of the times for me was like clothing was such an issue for me. And so there was a lot of times I wanted to wear this and wear that, but like it didn't come in my size, you know?
Yeah.
It was like they only cater to like really small children in a lot of clothes. And man, if it wasn't for JCPenney and Sears, like kids plus size, like I wouldn't be the fashionista I am today. Like that's literally like my humble beginnings was the freaking Sears. If you go to the Stockton Sears, it was like downstairs in the dark, and it was like a plus size kids section in the corner.
Not in the dark.
Like
though.
it was dark in our Sears.
What?
I don't know, like it's just dark downstairs where the kids stuff is, and they would have like maybe 2 racks of like plus size girls stuff for kids. And yeah, I had that much to choose from, you know, and it sucks. Like I wish we had kind of what we have now, a little bit more inclusivity of clothing and sizing for kids, because that's really where it starts. And not all kids and not all people are built the same, you know. And I'm kind of glad like fashion designers are kind of evolving into more sizing and more just more like styles that, you know, aren't hideous for kids and like older people to wear, you know.
Right.
It's like t-shirts, like no, we want to wear other things, you know.
Exactly. And you hit the nail on the head right there, like hideous. It's like if you make something plus size, it's like it looks like trash. Like it's like, dude,
Like
seriously, like I mean, Joshua will tell you, like, because I mean, us shopping for shoes, like he has it a little bit harder than me, but they make it hard on you. Like a lot of Nikes, a lot of these companies, Nikes, Adidas, like they make these really nice shoes for people with small feet.
Yep, call them out.
Reach it, brother.
Y'all need to do better.
Alistair.
So it's just like, it's real out here.
Like, bro, people don't understand how hard it is. Like, if you wear a size 12 and up, you automatically have a hard time finding shoes. Like, because for one, they don't have the size, they don't get enough of that size. They only have a certain quantity of it. Then two, you know, like you said, Chad, for certain shoes, they only make them for a certain size. Like I was on line the other day I saw a shoe. I was like, oh, I like this shoe. I click on it. It stopped at a freaking 10 and a half. And I was like, dang, so we can't have the shoe? Like,
tell me.
So, like, when you in the 6th grade and you wearing a size 10 already, like, it's like, you be like, dang, bro, like, I gotta go shop in the men's shoes while my friends still like wearing kids shoes and stuff like so.
Right.
Yeah, like I wanted the light up shoes and like the ones with bows and
Yeah, but I
sparkles on
couldn't
them.
get
Never
them.
came in my size. I was already a woman's size 9 in like the 5th grade. Like,
Right.
yeah.
See, I'm
definitely.
telling
Wow.
Yeah. I can definitely understand that, like Chad said, because I wear like a 16 now, and in high school I wore a 14. I wore a 14. They always picked on me because of my shoes.
Yeah.
But and that's also why I never did the dress down days where we can wear our casual clothes instead of the uniform, because I didn't have all the cool shoes that the other kids had. Like I didn't have any Nikes because I couldn't find those particular Nikes in my size, and I didn't have any Adidas or anything. I had like the Nike trainers.
I'm telling you, or the K
Damn.
Swiss.
Oh no, not the K-Swiss.
It don't
Oh,
downplay
Payless. Y'all remember Payless?
Payless.
Hey,
Oh,
Payless.
man.
Hey, Payless was my best friend, man.
Yep.
Man,
They
hey.
catered.
Like 3 years.
Look, as long as it wasn't the Shacks, like I do anything but the Shacks. Like,
Hey,
boy.
hey, Shaq, okay, look, I only got him because Shaq was my favorite player at the time. And I regret that decision because them shoes tore up in like 2 weeks.
in 2 weeks, man. I'm telling you. But yeah, guys, you know, it's crazy because all of these things, you know, and I'm glad to listen to all of your perspectives on it, because yeah, for the most part, because I've grown up with Joshua and I've seen it, you know, now, and it's so true, you know, with his shoe size, either you can't find it or it's so expensive that you don't even want to buy it anymore. And even for that situation, like I've talked to friends, like some of my homegirls and stuff, and they talk about, you know, their shoe size, and I can only imagine, you know, how women deal with that situation. But for the most part, it seems like everybody's taken what they've had so far and, you know, thrived from it and turned it into a positive. But a lot of times out here, there are a lot of people that don't, and they kind of let it take over them a little bit, and they don't really like the person that they see in the mirror. And that's why I kind of wanted to bring up my next topic about plastic surgery. Like, what do you guys like? How do you guys feel about that?
So I love the show Botched. I don't know if you guys
Me
ever
too.
seen it on
Yeah.
I've heard of it. I think my mom watches it.
It's just basically about crazy like surgeries that gone wrong, plastic surgeries that gone wrong, and they go to these 2 doctors to try and fix them, and they end up looking most of the time like really good after they're fixed, like they do a good job. I think like it's crazy, you know, everyone kind of has their own vision of how they choose to see themselves, and the world is not a perfect place. You know, we can't have one mindset of it's wrong or it's right,
For sure,
because everyone has their own taste, and we can't control people's bodies and what we want them to look like. I think personally there's nothing wrong with plastic surgery. That for me personally, I wouldn't go overboard to do anything crazy. I think, like, you know, there's a point like you get to where you see yourself and you kind of start seeing that that person you want to see in the mirror, and you'll fix a few things here and there, and you're like, wow, like I feel really confident. You're building up your confidence in a way. And sometimes people just take it fully like, oh, I have to keep doing this, I have to keep doing that, and like I have to fix all this, I need these bigger, I need this smaller, just to fit this beauty standard that you'll never achieve, because nothing's ever going to be perfect if you just do it out of straight insecurities. But yeah, it's up to the person, you know, to make those decisions. Like, we can't make those for them.
Yeah, definitely. No, that's a great point.
Yeah.
And I just think, you know, it's a like double-edged sword, because sometimes you can't fault some of these people who get plastic surgery, because especially like with certain like celebrities, or, you know, just people in general. Like my example I always use, like Michael Jackson, because he grew up in the spotlight as a child. Like 10 years old, you got people looking at you on TV. You go through puberty, you know, so people see you changing, you know, your face, you know, you starting to become a man, you know, your voice change and all that. And because they know you as the little kid, and when you start growing up, they talk about you like, oh, you know, look at his nose, it's so big, or, you know, look at how his lips are and all that. And, you know, that does damage to somebody like that because they started out as a child and they didn't have a chance to be a child. So they're going back and forth with their image, and they got people telling them, oh, you should look this way. And then at home, you know, your mother or something be like, you look fine, but you don't know what, you know, where to go with it. And, you know, it happens where you start to, you know, like you said, you look in the mirror and then you're like, well, maybe if I change this a little bit, I could be acceptable to what they want me to look like. And then, you know, it gets to a point where it's like, okay, I have to keep doing it so I can keep up, you know, with my image, or keep up with what they think I should be, or something like that. And it's crazy because it affected him so much that people started to turn on him, like even his own race, and say, oh, he's not black anymore because now he looks like a white man. And, you know, it's crazy that, you know, you go through things like that because of the perception people want to have of you, and you go through all that. So like with plastic surgery, I've never been like a big fan of it, but I understand why people go through that because you know, image is such a big thing now, and especially now with like social media and, you know, these reality shows and what you see on TV. You know, people, you got little girls, I be seeing them come in the store and they be like, yeah, you know, I want to look like Cardi B, and I want to, you know, have my butt looking like this and all that. And it's crazy that you hear that, but that's the reality of how it is. So it's really one of those things where it's all about you looking at yourself in that mirror. Like I said, it's the truth. It's ugly, but it's the truth.
Big time.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna say?
Oh no, I was just saying, yeah, you can go.
Well, that brings me to another point. Was there any like temporary things that you guys did to make yourself look slightly different, or more desirable in high school or when you were younger? Like something like, well, for example, like when I was in high school, I didn't like how my eyebrows looked, so I took some Vaseline and shaped how my eyebrows looked.
I think I remember that.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I think I remember when you
I
were
know
doing
for me, I grew out my hair because I thought if I had long hair, girls would like me. So that's what I did. I thought it would make me more appealable, like,
Yeah.
you know, back then, like the late 2000s, mid 2000s.
Oh yes.
You know, braids was like the thing. So
Right.
if I get braids, maybe I could get, you know, maybe girls will talk to me now because they already didn't talk to me because they thought I was a nerd because I hung out with a nerd. I was like, if I get braids, I get cool points. So that was me. I grew my hair out in high school.
Yeah. I would just wear like hoodies and baggy stuff just to kind of hide the shape of, like, you know how slim I was. I just wear baggy stuff so like you couldn't tell, and it didn't work out. It didn't help me at all. It just, you know, it just made me feel a little bit better.
I think for me, like I convinced my grandma one time, because it was when like short shorts were kind of coming in for like middle schoolers or whatever. And so I convinced her to like buy me some, and I felt like that was just such a like accomplishing moment. Like, oh, I get to look like everyone else. Like I wore short shorts, and yeah, I don't know. Like it was like a thing in school to wear short shorts and flip flops. I don't know why, but like it was a temporary thing because I kind of like was like, oh, these like aren't looking that good, you know, and then kind of developed more insecurities. But yeah, there was like little like fashion things like I tried to fit in with the crowd and stuff. I definitely did that at some point in my life.
Man, like Eleanna, like you were telling the truth, man. Like me and you were on the same page because I've had so many, and God bless my parents, because they tried so hard. but certain things, if you're not young, you just don't know, and I get it, because I remember there would be days in my middle school where we would have, and I told the story 1,000 times, but we would have like hat day or something like that, or. So this was a time when fitted caps were in, fitted caps with Atlanta on it or wherever your city was. Yeah, all of that. So it was I was like, okay, today I'm gonna wear some hats. I'm gonna get me some hats, and I'm gonna come to school on hat day, and it's gonna be amazing. Everybody's gonna love me. Chad is gonna win today. This is gonna happen. So basically, my parents bought me, because snapbacks are cool now, but back when I was in middle school, snapbacks weren't cool. So my parents had bought me one blue snapback that had nothing on it. It was just a regular snapback, and then one red snapback. And like my classmates they were the worst. Like I sat in class, and you know how you could feel it in the air when you're just
yeah.
And it was just like, yeah, we finna take your ass out. And I was like, oh no. God. Yeah, so they talked about me until the day was over, because everybody had on their Atlanta hats, and I come in the classroom kind of like this. I have my hat turned backwards, but it was a fitted cap with nothing on it. And that happened to me multiple times. I remember I got some Jordans and they didn't fit, but I wore them things until my toes bled. Like, oh my God. Like, I was just like, I got me some Jordans. I'm finna wear these. And folks were still like, what are those? What kind of Jordans are them? So it's always been.
You can never win.
I get it.
Hey, bro,
Yeah.
I got ashamed to admit I would have been one of them kids, bro. I'm sorry. Not from a bullying perspective, but like, bro, like I would have been your friend, and I still would have talked about it. I was like, bro, why you let the parents get you that hat, bro? Like, you should have kept that at home, bro.
Well, the funny thing is about that, Marcus, it's like, kind of like Eleanna was saying earlier, kids are cruel, but the biggest reason is because like they're kids, kids are, intrinsically honest because that's all they know. You know what I'm saying? Like they haven't developed that, oh, let me be polite thing. That is what it is. Like a lot of those guys and a lot of the people I grew up with in middle school and elementary school, we're the best of friends now because, when all of that stuff went down, we were little kids, so it's okay. I get it. And yeah, that's a part of it that kind of helped me out as I got older. Like I know I'm kind of rambling a little bit, but it's just kind of like a little anecdote. I was coming home from college one day, and I ran into this guy on the bus because I took the bus back home, and I recognized him. He was a guy that, would talk about me till the day was over when I was back in middle school. But the way he remembered it, we were the best of friends, and he talked to me. He was like, man, Chad, I miss you, bro. Like, how you been? It's been so long and blah, blah, blah. Man, remember those times in middle school? We were crazy, man. It was, and it kind of humbled me a little bit. I was just like, wow, like for who am I to hold on to something that happened to me when we were kids, you know what I'm saying? And that goes back to that thing where it's like a lot of the times stuff happens to you and it's just all in your head, like those people, those little kids that did whatever, they don't think about it like that. They were just being kids. And
that's what it is, man.
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. 100%. Did anybody else have anything to lean in about that topic?
Yeah. I mean, definitely. Kids are kids, and they don't mean exactly what they say.
Yeah.
But again, like I said earlier, bullying can be helpful because it kind of opens you up to what you shouldn't do. Like it was
also, yeah.
There was a time where I wanted to dress out, and that was like one of the only times I dressed out in high school, and we were going to Six Flags, and I wore and Polo was cool. You know, Polo's always been a really cool brand to wear, and I didn't have any in high school, but I found this polo sweater. I found this polo sweater. I don't even remember where I found it, but it was a sweater, and it was really hot that day, and I wore it anyway because I wanted to be like the cool kids. And they bullied me so hard that day. Like they got on me so
Oh,
hard
no.
because it was like 80 degrees outside, and I was trying to
You
get
just
on
wanted to
rides at
wear it.
Six Flags.
Yeah, you just wanted to be
Josh,
trying
I
cool.
just want to say God bless you. Because
I was
Six
trying to
Flags hot is a whole nother
Six
hot, brother.
Flags
Yeah.
hot, bro.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, I almost passed out, and I had to sit on a bench with my inhaler.
That Six
So
Flags ain't
yeah,
no joke, boy.
It's not, but yeah, I remember that story too, bro. You gone through a lot of stuff, Joshua.
Yeah, you definitely have
I
to.
mean, one if you got nothing else from that, bro, it's like, if it's hot, man, don't wear a sweater. Like, please don't wear no sweater, and it's 100 degrees outside. I don't
Especially
care.
Six Flags.
Right. I don't
Right.
care if you got Adidas on it, Nike, and that goes for all our viewers out there. It's like, guys, sometimes I understand, but you got to be smart about it. Like, don't actively put yourselves in danger to be accepted. And I know in some situations it seems like it's the end of the world, but take my antidote for what it is. It's a little time in your life, and then you're gonna move on. That's just how it happens. And you're
Yeah.
gonna get older and forget about it.
It sucks though, like, when you're younger, it feels like forever.
It does.
I would really count the days until I knew I was leaving that school, or until I knew like I would move into high school and get out of middle school. Like it was tough. Like you really it's elongated time. Like, and you don't take it day by day. It's like, oh, man.
Again.
Yeah,
Like,
again. Like I have to see
man.
this person again. I have to be in this class with that person.
Yeah.
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 It was hard.
No, I definitely understand that. And like I said, looking back at it now, it's easy to say that, oh, don't worry about it, but yeah, certainly I remember those days going through it, and like you said, going to that class and hoping that one person didn't come in that day, because you already know what it's going to be when it's like on site,
Go to the back of the classroom, put your head down with the hood on, and just hope they don't see you, man. That's how it was.
Right. But yeah, and that's real, man. But a lot of that stuff can also affect you in certain ways. I kind of wanted to talk about, because I see it on both ends of the spectrum. Just body dysmorphia, which is basically like, you thinking that you look a certain way when you don't, and that is a big topic because it could lead to things like overeating, or bulimia, or even gym culture, to the point to where you're taking steroids because you're trying to look a certain way. And you don't see, really, because of the body dysmorphia, what you're actually doing to yourself. And I kind of wanted to know what you guys thought about that.
well, just to start it off, I have a really good one on body dysmorphia. I would say some months ago, a little over a year ago, maybe. Um, I was in a bad place because I couldn't fit this pair of jeans that I bought, because I've been trying to wear like back then I wanted to wear skinny jeans and I couldn't. So to get into skinny jeans, I started not eating. I would go days. I would go days and in a week and weeks just not eating anything, and just snacking here and there, and primarily just drinking water. And I did that for a while, and I got really sick. And I just didn't want to. Uh, I didn't want to get up. I would always just sleep, and I'd throw up, and I was just in a really bad place with that. And yeah.
Well, one thing, Josh, I'm glad you're doing better now, though, man.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
Yeah, definitely.
Like,
Yeah, I try to put it on the back burner, but I'm trying to. I remember it somewhat, but
Yeah,
yeah,
Day by day.
definitely.
Take it day
Yeah,
by
you
day.
got to take it.
That's
Yeah,
all you
you
can
definitely
do.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a day by day thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think kind of bouncing off of that, since maybe like high school, like after you know, you kind of start developing into a different person.
Mhm.
That's when I kind of started noticing like, okay, like I have to kind of morph this body I'm given like into this society's like beauty standard.
Mm.
Um, and so there would be days like very similar to you as well, where I would just do like these weird like small like crash diets just to like meet a certain number on a scale and be like okay and content with it, and then after that I'd be like fine, then I'd go back into like crash diet, okay, and then it would just be like every like spur of the moment, maybe every other month I would like try this just to like kind of maintain like my weight or something like that. And I don't know, like looking back at it now, it was just very very mentally unhealthy. I wouldn't say I got to the point like where I would get myself sick, so I feel like I kind of like had to put a lot of self-control into it so that I could keep it like under wraps. But yeah, there was just points where it was like mentally like bad for me. And it kind of still like moved into like early college. And then that's when I started hanging out with friends who would go to the gym a couple times a week. And so with that, I was like, oh, okay, like, you know, I'll try this like gym thing out. So we would just go, and I was kind of starting to find like balance. And even to this day, like I started more so last year, more on a schedule of like working out and just like trying to have a balanced like life where it's not excessive like dieting or like excessive exercising, because I don't know, for me like it just like it never works. Like I can never do like 7 days a week like eating super healthy and like, you know, staying under calories, and like I don't know, like I just never was interested in keeping it super stable. And like right now where I'm at in life, I feel like okay, like I'm content, like I'm happy with myself. I'm gonna
That's
keep,
good.
you know, kind of do these little like, all right, I'm gonna eat a little healthier like this time around, or you know, but it's not in an unhealthy way how it was before. And I think for me, like just trying to find some kind of balance in my life, it was hard to like get to that. I feel like I finally found that now.
I'm happy for you. Like
Yeah.
seriously.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And for me, um, I've never really had too much of a problem with it,
Mhm.
because I always been comfortable, like you know how my body is and stuff. But as far as like people who I'm close to, I've seen it a lot, like in my family and like with some of my friends.
Sorry, I couldn't quite hear you.
Oh shit!
Could you please repeat?
Ain't nobody call you, sir. My bad.
She has something to say, man. She has something to say about it, man. She want to talk.
But don't be
But
silencing Siri.
sorry, y'all, but
Oh, you good?
yeah,
It's all
like
good.
I was saying, in my family, like one of my cousins, she went up and down like with her weight. She would do the whole thing where she wouldn't eat. She'll throw up her food and all that. She'll buy these certain clothes because it'll make her look like a certain way. Like to shape her body and all that. And we used to tell her, why are you doing that? Because you're a nice looking girl. You don't have to go through all that. But she felt like that's what she had to do. And then one of my good friends, she was kind of like she was kind of like a chubby girl when we was in high school, and people used to pick on her a lot when we was in high school. And I used to always tell her, I don't care how you look, cause you my friend, and I was like, we cool, and I got you, and I would have her back. So when we got older, she lost a lot of weight and stuff, and even though she lost the weight, she still sometimes feels like it's not enough. She's like, I'm just, I'm gaining a little weight back, or I need to lose. I'm like, no, it's like you look fine, And I don't understand because, like you said, it's that, it's a mind thing. You just feel like, you have to do that. And like you say, sometimes you do it and it's on and off, and then you come back. And I really, congratulate you for, taking on that and taking it step by step, because just seeing it, happen to somebody, is enough. So I wouldn't understand at all because I haven't experienced, but I've definitely seen that happen with a lot of people that's close to me. So it's a real serious, thing.
It is,
Yeah.
certainly.
But with me, I never really had necessarily like, I looked at myself in the mirror and was like, I wanted to be like more, bigger or something like that. It was just like I would try to gain more weight because I saw that I wasn't, heavy as I wanted to be. Like I was more or less, I wanted to be like, because in high school, for the most of high school, I was under 100 pounds. And I would always get bullied for being under 100 pounds. So I would try eating a lot of food. My first 3 years of high school, I would try eating it just to get over that poundage. And once I did get over that, it wasn't enough. And it took me like getting into college and like just kind of understanding that, my body is this way and, accepting the way it is, that now I am comfortably, I'm comfortable with the way it is. And I've actually naturally gotten like more weight, and I'm actually happy with the way I look now as opposed to the way I was in high school. So it's, it took a long time, but I'm glad that I was able to, get to where I am now, because it was hard in high school.
That's awesome.
I'm glad you're there, bro. Like that, that makes me feel happy because just hearing, of course, I wasn't able or I wasn't there for, Eliana's situation or Marcus's situation, but it's really eye opening to be, especially in you and Joshua's lives, and kind of being around you guys at certain points, and just getting more of a backstory of what was going on. You know what I mean? And I think that's cool, man. Just being there for that. I'm so proud of you guys. And I'm proud of everybody, for the growth and just, seeing what was going on, assessing it, and, trying to do something better for yourself in a positive light. That's fantastic. Like, I'm so proud of you guys. 100%. But yeah, I think a big thing for me is people don't think that I guess they think that in order to have an enjoyable life, they need to punish themselves. Like, hey, going to Burger King or McDonald's is great. You're supposed to enjoy eating. Like Eliana said, as far as like trying to hold down a diet to where you're eating leaves 7 days out of the week and then you're working out like crazy. Like, of course that's hard to hold down because it's like you're not enjoying yourself, and that can lead to other things like, depression and all that kind of stuff because you're robbing yourself of parts of your life that are supposed to be enjoyable.
Yeah.
All the all to look a certain way. And like we discussed the other day, Eliana, when we had that conversation, I don't know, I know you do, but for Marcus, if you've seen like my 600-pound life, everybody on there got somebody. You know what I'm saying? So if you
Oh yeah. My mom watches that show, so I seen it. For real.
I mean, everybody. So if you in there, and that's for all our viewers too, at the end, and I do realize that a lot of people, you do it for yourselves too, but if you out there trying to look good for somebody, look, man, that is not the case. There are people, like I said,
there's always somebody for you.
It's somebody.
Yes.
That's the best way to say it. There's always somebody for everybody, man.
Yeah.
100%.
Definitely.
Kind of to bringing up that topic, I'm interested in hearing you guys about like overeating and like my 600-pound life. Like, do you think like there's a balance in between, having a healthy lifestyle and the whole like accepting the way you are and the way you look, even if it's like unhealthy?
That's a good question.
That is a great question.
Yeah. Well, then that kind of leans more, I guess, into the body positivity side of it. Because just to give some background, that overeating, it is a thing, and I know, briefly, for a little part of my life, because I know for the last podcast, I talked a little bit about my football injury in high school that kind of ended my, football career. And at that moment, I was laid up for a while. I wasn't going anywhere. And, you call it, whatever it is, maybe a little depressed, or I was eating a lot, and because that's something that I wasn't getting it from anywhere else. I wasn't getting it from, my school. I might not have had anybody I was, talking to at the time. So I, turned to food. It's like, hey, that's cool. But at that point, I gained a whole lot of weight. So it was, at a certain point to where I'm just like, okay. And it's with everything, too much of anything is bad for you. Like it really is. So I was just at a point where I'm like, okay, I got to do something. I got to, step back away from the table a little bit. But it's definitely it's a middle ground. Yeah, it's certainly a way of being positive with your weight, and having that body positivity mentality without putting yourself in danger, if that makes any sense to anybody.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's very mental. It's a mental thing.
No, certainly.
Because
And
you can
go
tell
ahead.
yourself, oh my bad, yeah, you can tell
You're
yourself,
good.
you can tell yourself, yeah, I'm just gonna have, this one thing, just for a little snack, and then it gets, well, another one won't hurt, and then
Exactly.
it's just a root. It starts to become a routine, and
Yep.
then at a certain point, you don't even realize, what you're doing or what you're putting into yourself.
Yeah.
And like you said, Chad, when we was talking last time, I talked about when I had my injury, and the same thing happened with me. I'm just laying there all day, so I'm not doing nothing. And the only kind of exercise I do get is when I go to therapy, but that's for my knee.
Right.
So I'm like, whatever they bringing me, I'm like, yeah, let me
go.
get it. Like, let's
Right.
go. Let's get with it. It's all you can eat. So
I'm telling you.
I'm just, and like you said, you get in that state of mind where it's like, I gotta lay here all day. I can't move. My mom gotta help me do certain stuff that I'm used to doing on my own.
Right.
And then the whole social thing where you don't get to see your peers. Cause I couldn't go back to school because I couldn't, walk around and stuff.
Same.
And you don't really have nobody to talk to, so you get kind of down, and like a lot of people do, you use food because certain stuff, certain food you eat, it makes you, in your mind, it makes you happier, and that's definitely what you see a lot of times on like my 600-pound story life. Which one is it?
Life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
600-pound
yeah.
life,
Yeah, you see a lot of them, they use food as like that escape, where they don't have to deal with their problems and stuff. And the thing that I do like about it is that they're brave enough to, face that and realize, their problem and realize what's going on, and they're trying to change it.
Yeah.
There you
I
go.
think that's why it's so positive, because they're actually trying to, do something about it, because they realize, what's going on. And I think, if no matter what, if you can do that, that's a start. If you just can get to that point, that's a great start. And it's up to you to get to that finish line. So I think that's one of those examples where it's positive about like body image, because even though they're overweight, they're comfortable enough to talk about that and come out and be like, yeah, I'm overweight, I'm obese, I have this problem, or I'm close to death, but I'm going to take these, steps to get to where I need to be. So I think that's a great example that you brought up, Eleanna, for a question. So
For sure.
Yeah.
yes.
Also, like, what do you guys, like the whole body positivity thing, what do you guys kind of think about the media kind of showing more, I guess, plus size and bigger individuals as, you know, to endorse brands. Because
I
I'm
love
starting to see a lot more. But there's also that side of people who are like, oh, you know, I don't want people thinking this is healthy or like this is okay. You know, they're just giving so much backlash. And it's just to an average sized woman, like, you know, they're just saying, oh no, she's too big. What are your guys' opinions on that?
Well, I think it's great because it's wrong to say somebody is unhealthy because they may be larger, because they might just be that big. They might just be that large because this is how they're built.
Yeah.
It might not be that they're overweight or something. Like, like I've tried to lose weight plenty of times, and I'm not gonna get skinny. That's just not how I'm built.
Tell me about it.
Yeah. I think it's good because, you know, like you guys were saying, you know, in your childhood, you were having a hard time finding like clothes and stuff like that for you guys. So it brings more sizes for you guys, which makes it easier for you guys to, you know, have more style options and stuff like that. So I think it's a good thing that brands are opening up their sizes, you know, to be more representative of the average, you know, mostly average population. So yeah, I think it's a positive.
Certainly.
I think it's a very positive thing to have those images, because going back to, like you just said, Demetrius, as a child, you know, you already are given these certain ways, you know, you're supposed to look at stuff, and now you could go and ride past a billboard and you see a plus size model, or you see somebody with curly hair on a, you know, on the front of Vogue magazine or something like that. You know, you have these different like images, and it's like they're saying it's okay for you to look this way, or it's okay that you're different like this, or it's okay that, you know, even with people who have, you know, vitiligo, or, you know, people who amputees, and, you know, people are more open, you know, it's more comfortable because they're like, it's okay to look like this. And, you know, just like when we were children, it wasn't that the same way. It was like, no, this is this is the like image of what we want, and this is how you should look, and every model has to be skinny and all that. And it's funny because I used to watch Next Top Model with my mom, and I remember the one season when they had Takara on there.
Yes.
I was just like, man, I want her to win, because like I just love that she was so comfortable, like, you know, being plus size, and then she was beautiful. So I was like, I thought it was crazy that she didn't win, win, because I was like, why not? You know, you know, she's beautiful. But now, if she was to do that now, she would probably win, because it's a different time. And that's just like, you know, with time and like eras, you know, certain stuff is not for the right time. But now, oh man, I love it. I love to see it all. Like, you know, it's very positive.
Yeah, I remember like as a kid, the only person that as a girl I could look up to was Raven-Symoné on Disney Channel. She was literally like one of like the only like plus size curvier like teenagers on there. And so one episode that always stuck out to me was because like in the show she was like a fashion designer. She made her own like clothes or whatever in the show. And so her character, she wanted to model this dress she made, and they didn't let her. And the fashion designer that she was working with like didn't let her. They wanted her dress to be on a skinny model. And she was like, no, like I'm gonna wear it. And she like basically like protested the whole like fashion show. And I'll never forget that episode. Like that really, as a kid, like stuck out to me, you know? I was like, that's dope. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. I was like,
oh no, it's
no problem.
That is beautiful.
Yeah.
No, that's an awesome sentiment. Like we really appreciate it. And I want to, you know, thank you so much for just being so open with us. You know,
it's like such a powerful topic.
You about to make me tell now.
Right?
Going on it.
I didn't want to cry.
Okay,
yeah.
It's all right. It's okay.
All right.
It is definitely okay, but yeah, it's that representation.
Yeah, man. I'm so happy like we're moving into such a different time now, you know. Such a better, like more inclusive time.
It really is. Because even for like guys, you know, I look at different clothing. Like I know me and Joshua, we shop on we go online and get stuff off of Old Navy and stuff all the time. And the models, they got models that are built like me and Joshua. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got guys up there and we can literally see, you know, because I remember having to guesstimate. You know, I'm like, okay, they have this cardigan in this guy's size, but let me see, a 3X might be my size. But now I could go on a website and they got a guy standing up there that looks exactly like me. And I'm like, oh my God, so that's how I'll look wearing that. And, you know, and it's okay. So that, you know, it's huge. You know, I really
Yeah.
appreciate where the body positivity movement has gone.
Yeah.
You know, definitely. It's made the biggest difference. And, you know, yeah, seriously. And that's big that, you know, and that was years ago, you know, when you're talking about with the Raven Simone and stuff like that. That's, you know, that's really cool because I didn't even think about it that way, like at all. Like that's awesome.
You know, kids just like look towards the media and whatever they're kind of given on television shows, and they'll just, that's all they can look up to. And so the fact like these kid shows weren't really portraying anyone that could be different or look different, you know, that's so important. And I'm really glad like a lot of shows now are kind of moving in that direction too for kids, because it really starts out when you're a kid. And
certainly,
like what you're seeing on the media.
Certainly. And even with you know, body positivity is also just the thing of being able to see somebody, like I said, that looks like you. And that goes with, you know, a minority representation also. You know, it's a big thing. And yeah, I definitely love the direction that's going in, as far as even with shows that aren't, you know, like I'll say live action. Like I love how inclusive shows like Steven Universe is and things like that. You know, it's really cool, and it's showing I guess like children, and it's showing everybody that, hey, you know, you don't have to fit into this one thing to be able to be celebrated. You know, and I think that's awesome.
That's a great example, Chad, because what you saying that is funny, because that's a medium. Like when I was a child, like with comic books, I never like had that representation, because I always felt like the superheroes, like they displayed and always promoted, were like the, you know, the white superheroes, and you know they kind of downplayed the, you know, a lot of the black superheroes. And it's interesting because I didn't find out about a lot of them until I got a little older, and I could go and look for that myself. Because you look, even though you love it because of the, you know, the fandom and all that, you still look for that representation and that thing.
Yeah.
You want to see like, okay, where's the guys that look like me? You know, that deal with the problems, you know, I deal with, you know.
Seriously.
You know, these guys are cool, but they don't look like me. So, you know, when you see that, and like now, like you said, now kids automatically get that. They get, you got, you know, you got Asians, you got Latino, you got African American, you know, you got mixed races, you got mixed parenting, you know, it's, you know, they see it all. So it's like, okay, I have that representation for, you know, for who I am. And like I go back with us, because we're a little bit older, it was kind of hard because of the times people were afraid to, you know, be that open with stuff. So we didn't get a lot of that. We had to go and look for it. But that just goes back. I just love how now, you know, everything is there for you to see, you know, see that representation of yourself. Cause I was like, man, where the guy that got glasses and that's a nerd, you know,
right.
like he could go out and fight crime, you know. So like when you got guys like Static Shock,
I'm about to say Static Shock.
That was like my favorite thing, because I was like,
hero.
he's a nerd. You know, he got the dreadlocks, you know.
The hang with the, you know, gun
like,
violence.
I was like, man, I feel like I could go live in that house, man. So representation is very important.
It really is. And, you know, and guys like, you know, me and Joshua, you know, because like we said, we all love superheroes, but that imagery. And I think for men, you know, or little boys growing up, it I think it kind of does something to you, because it's like, you know, is this beauty? You know what I'm saying? Is this beautiful? Is this what I should be striving towards? Like, I can only imagine if I was a little kid and Steven Universe was out then, and I got to see that a little chubby boy of color with curly hair was the protagonist of a television show. I would have lost my mind. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would have been all I needed. You know, as a little kid, to have that confidence, just being able to see myself, you know. And I love that that's the way that everything's going now, you know. And I really hope that you know, it moves forward, and just that, you know, inclusivity of shapes and sizes, whether you're big, small, whatever race you are. I just hope that stays a part of the cultural zeitgeist, and we just, you know, keep that moving forward, because it's a really positive thing, guys. Like, it really is. Like, I love it.
And I just can't see how people can find like negativity out of that. Like, you know, how you could be like so simple minded to try to say, well, they shouldn't do this because it'll give them the idea that this is okay. But why not? Why isn't it okay?
Or like, it will make enough money if we have plus size clothing. Like,
right,
we exist. We want to give you our money. Like, just make like, you know.
It's crazy. It's really crazy that people, you know, people think like that. Oh, this won't sell, so you know, change it to this model, or show them this image because it'll appeal. That happens in film a lot. You know, just to go a little off subject, like they'll choose a lighter skinned actress to play a character, like a black character, because it'll appeal more to a certain audience, and it'll be okay, where it's like, okay, we can get this audience, but we can still keep the black audience too, because she's black, even though she's a, you know, lighter complexion. Just like it's happened a lot with the character Storm. You know, she's always played by a lighter, you know, lighter fair-skinned woman when she's a darker-skinned character in the comic books. And it's like, why are you so afraid to portray that? You know, because it's, you know, it's beautiful either way, but why are y'all so afraid to, you know, put that out there? And that's happened like throughout the history of film and stuff. It's always been, you know, they play on like race and like, why is this okay? Like, oh man, I can't think of the movie right now. It'll come to me later, but it's a film about a girl whose mother is black and her father's white, and it came out in like the 50s. And instead of them casting, you know, somebody that was mixed, they cast a white woman, but she passed as, you know, she could look like she could have been a mixed, you know, mixed race child. And you know, when you see things like that, it's like, why, you know, why do you have to go through that? But I know, just studying film and stuff, like, you know, representation and minorities and all that has always been like a big issue when it comes to image, and it's tainted some films, and you know,
it has.
It's really a big problem, and it's getting a little better now, and I hope it keeps, you know, going up like it is. But it's really something that's really come a long way, because it has been bad for a lot of years.
No, yeah, it really has. But, you know, I like to see, you know, and you see it in bits and pieces. You really do. Just like Leon, I know you're not like too big on like superheroes and things like that, but even like Miles Morales, you know, that was big. He's a, you know, African American and a Latino American superhero. You know, so it's just like, yeah, so just little stuff like that, you know, just getting different races and just different walks of life into mainstream media, you know, it's wonderful. Or and like I said, I would just like to see that going forward, and I hope that those walls break down even more, like what you were saying, Marcus, being able to cast a you know, a more, how can I say it, like accurate representation of Storm, you know. So yeah, guys, but I think that conversations like this, you know, help, because there's so many times out there where people, and that's why I applaud you guys so much, that people just don't want to talk about it, you know. It's especially with people of color, you know. It's like we're made to be so strong, and we don't want to show that, yeah, we hurt, and there's certain situations that we don't, or there's certain days that we don't feel the best. And I'm just glad that we're able to have these conversations and put it out there and let people know that, yeah, we do feel this way,
Yeah.
like it's definitely awesome. And just one last thing, I kind of want to ask you all, like, what would you say, is there anything that you would say to somebody out there that's, kind of in the shoes that you were in when you were younger, that, doesn't really, I guess, like themselves, or doesn't really see a way out of their situation, and they don't see the end of the tunnel? Like, what would you say to that person, being who you are now and going through and have gone through what you have been through in order to get to this point?
I guess, like, I always kind of think of, like, if I was talking to, like, my younger self, I would just say, like, you're gonna glow up, like, you're gonna pull through this mentally, physically, like, you're gonna find yourself, you're gonna find, like, your style, and the world's gonna evolve towards what you want to see yourself as. And don't be afraid to take chances in whatever you want to do, whether it's like style, whether it's what you want, how you want to see yourself, like if you want to exercise, if you want to do anything, certain sport, you want to dance, like, you're gonna go for it.
So that's amazing. How about you guys? Got anything, Josh?
Well, I would say to my younger self, stop trying to be so different, if that makes sense. And stop trying to find so many ways to make yourself unique to different people and different things. Just be yourself. Like, be your authentic self. Don't go on the internet and try to adopt things that don't necessarily line up with your interests.
I like that one too, man.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Definitely.
Oh yeah.
I would say to my younger self is just to be yourself, like to be as open as I am now. Because in high school, I just wasn't, because I was afraid of what everybody was going to think, whether it was how I talked, whether it was how I looked, or, anything in between. And to just, do whatever you're going to do. Like, you're always going to have people that are not going to like you, or people that are going to tell you you can't do that because of certain things. But in the end of the day, you have to do what you want to do, what's right for you. And, don't read too much into it, because a lot of people are going through their own stuff too.
True that. That's a good point, Demetrius. I like that, bro.
Thanks.
Yeah.
No problem.
Me, and by the way, it was Imitation of Life. That's the movie.
That's what I was trying to think of too.
Okay.
I was trying to get there with you.
Imitation of Life. It came
Imitation
to for me, I would probably I would say, just love you, and it's okay. It's okay to, let your guard down, be more open about, who you are, what you like, don't be afraid, don't care what other people think. And, don't be as angry, and, don't try to hide it with, being mean and stuff. Just love who you are. Just love what you like. Like what you like, man. Like,
real talk.
That's what I thank my mom for that, because she told me, she said, don't care about what anybody else is doing or what they like. If you love it, I like it. That's what she always told me. And that really got me through a lot. So that's why I would say, if you like it, I love it, So
that's what's up, man. That's really cool, man. Shout out to Marcus's mom. Like, your mom is pretty dope.
I know.
Yeah.
She be spin some bars sometimes,
I see. She is awesome, man. But yeah, guys, I pretty much would kind of an amalgamation of like every one of you guys' comments. Same thing for myself. I would say, don't base your actions on what you think somebody else is gonna say, because I deal with a lot of that. I won't say a lot of it now, but I deal with little parts of that of just being inside of my own head. And before I do something, worrying about how somebody else is going to feel about it. So that's one thing that I would say to myself or anybody like me out there is just, like Marcus said, like what you like, man. If you have something that you're passionate about, go do it. Take your shirt off, man. Love yourself. Love yourself 100%.
Twist it around your head, spin it like a
helicopter. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. But look, Miss Eleanna, it's been a pleasure having you on here with us today.
Yes.
Thank you.
Like you have been amazing. You have been completely transparent. You've been a wonderful guest. And you're welcome to come back whenever.
Yes,
I hope to.
definitely.
I hope to.
Oh yeah.
You tried
This
to
is
make
really
me cry
fun.
today, girl. I was
Hey,
like,
we all in our feelings, man.
Girl, you made me cry.
Yeah, I was like, this topic, I'm really glad you were open for us to talk about this topic. I think it's something that men and women should open up about and really discuss. So I'm really glad we did. And I'm really grateful you gave me this platform to speak about it.
You're welcome. 100%. We do it 1,000 times over. Because you guys, you helped. I know, I can't really speak for them, but I know for me, you've helped me get a lot off my chest also. So I appreciate you for that.
Same.
Big time.
Yeah.
I'm glad. Yeah, I feel now I've kind of evolved into trying to find my own voice and my own platforms on social media, on YouTube. You want to plug my channel? It's Eleanna Victoria. Subscribe.
Yeah.
Hey, we'll plug you. Don't worry.
No.
And Instagram snatchface777. But yeah, and I feel that's kind of where I find joy in really expressing just what I like to do and doing whatever I want to do.
Exactly.
That's really where I find my joy and my voice.
Well, that's awesome. And it definitely shines through because I've watched, your YouTube channel and, I follow you on Instagram and I can completely see it. You be killing the game out there, man. I see the poses. You be hitting them poses for real. So.
Yeah, you got great content going out there. Really good content.
100%. So yeah, Eleanna, for everybody out there on Power 214 and for YouTube, please let them know your social media and everything again, so they'll get it down. Yeah,
my YouTube is Eleanna Victoria, and my Instagram is snatchedface777. You can go ahead and follow me on there. Click the like and subscribe button down below. Welcome to my channel.
Definitely.
But yeah, thank you guys.
Of course.
Thank you.
And, of course. And for on our end, we are the Square Roundtable, and you can catch us every Friday on our radio station Power 214 at 10 a.m. Pacific time, at 12 p.m. Central time, and 1 p.m. Eastern time.
And you can catch us on YouTube at the Square Roundtable. Don't forget to hit that notification bell, so you can get our updates. And we post that right after we post, or we air on the radio on Friday. We'll post it immediately after that, so you can check it out there.
All right, and this has been the Square Roundtable. I'm your host again, Chad Singleton, and go ahead and introduce yourselves, guys.
D.
Josh Singleton.
Marcus, and remember, be yourself and love yourself.
And I'm your guest, Eleanna Garza, crossing that line every time.
Hey.
Gotta throw that out there.
Heck yeah, and we are out.
Peace.
Mama out, baby. Mama forever.